Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to connect some seemingly random dots between a tech billionaire, a very restless young man, a handful of kind of unlucky dead kings, and a single number that might just change your entire life.
So let's start with this one powerful question from Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. This is the idea that's going to tie everything together for us. It really makes you stop and think, right? What really defines who we are? Is it the talents we're born with? Or is it the decisions we make along the way?
And believe me, this question wasn't just some abstract thought experiment for Bezos. It became very, very real when he was a young guy with a stable, high-paying job, and he had to make a choice that would change everything.
Here's how he breaks it down. Gifts are the easy part. Being smart or talented or good-looking. You're just handed those things. But choices are hard. They take grit, courage, and a ton of hard work. And his point is, you can be thankful for your gifts, sure, but you can only be truly proud of your choices.
And this was the totally reasonable, very logical advice he got from his boss when he pitched his crazy idea to sell books over this new thing called the internet. His boss was basically saying, hey, don't throw away your gift. But Bezos, well, he decided to make a choice instead.
And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows the massive gap between what people see and what a real visionary sees. On one side, his friend just saw a guy in a garage and thought it was a joke. But on the other, Bezos saw a global empire. He chose to build, even when everyone else was laughing. A choice that, let's be honest, looked completely insane at the time.
But here's the thing. Making a huge, bold choice like that, it's almost impossible if your brain is stuck in survival mode. You can't dream about building an empire when you're just worried about paying next month's rent.
Think about it. Financial stress is like trying to plan a big, amazing vacation while your house is literally on fire. All of your mental energy, your entire focus gets sucked into putting out the immediate flames. You're forced to make decisions out of fear, not out of hope for the future.
So what's the magic number? Is there an amount that can break you out of that cycle? Well, a lot of research points to this figure right here, $20,000. It's not just money, it's a psychological tipping point. It's the safety net that finally allows your brain to switch off that constant low-grade panic of survival and start thinking about growth.
And this chart shows you exactly why. I mean, look at this. Just having a tiny buffer, only $2,000, gives you a massive 21% boost in your feeling of well-being. But then, hitting that 3 to 6 month emergency fund, which is about $20,000 for most people, that's what gives you the real breathing room, the mental space to stop just surviving and start actually building.
And this is where the journey gets really exciting. This timeline shows you the incredible power of momentum. That first $20,000 is a grind, right? It takes 19 months. The next one is a little faster. But look what happens down the road. Once you hit 400 grand, it only takes 5 months. Your money starts doing the heavy lifting for you.
Okay, so you've got the builder's mindset, you've built up that financial freedom so you can think long-term. But having the freedom to choose isn't the whole story. You also need the clarity to act. And that brings us to the story of a young man named Marco.
I think we've all been Marco at some point, right? His mind was just a tornado of anxiety. Regrets about the past, fears about the future. He was totally overwhelmed. So, desperate for some peace, he went to find a wise old man.
Now, the old man didn't give him some deep philosophical lecture. Nope. He gave him a task, a really simple physical task that required 100% of his attention. So, Marco does it. He walks through the chaotic village and back, and he doesn't spill a single drop. When he returns, the old man asks him, "What did you see? What did you hear?" And Marco's answer is, nothing. He was so intensely focused on that glass of water that all the noise, all the chaos around him, it just completely disappeared. For the first time in forever, his mind was quiet.
And that was the whole lesson. The clarity you need to make great choices, it isn't found by escaping the world. It's found by being totally, completely in it. That intense focus is the very thing that lets a builder, like Bezos, ignore the laughter and just execute the plan.
And you really need that ability to be present because, as history likes to remind us with a bit of dark humor, your entire legacy can change in a single, totally random moment.
Let's start with Duke Qing of Jin. He was this powerful ruler, defied a prophecy that he wouldn't live to eat the new harvest, and, well, he's remembered forever because he drowned in a latrine pit.
Or how about King Charles VIII of France, a major historical figure whose reign came to a sudden stop because he wasn't paying attention and walked right into a stone doorway. And then there's King Bela I of Hungary. He was literally, and I mean literally, taken down by the seat of his own power when his throne just collapsed under him.
And my personal favorite, King Alexander of Greece, whose life was ended by a monkey bite. Now look, these stories are kind of funny, but they're not just weird historical facts. They are a huge, flashing neon sign reminding us that life is fragile and wildly unpredictable. The only moment you actually have any control over is right now.
So how do we tie all this together? A billionaire's philosophy, a financial safety net, a man with a glass of water, and a bunch of very unlucky kings. What's the connection?
The connection is that these are all the tools you need to become the author of your own life. The builder's mindset is your ambition. Financial freedom is the blank page that lets you pursue it. And a focused mind? That's the pen you use to write your story, one choice at a time. It's what moves you from being just a character in your story to being the one who writes it.
And that brings us right back to where we started, back to those fundamental choices. These questions, they're not just for people trying to build a giant company. They're for anyone. Anyone who wants to choose a life of adventure over a life of ease. Anyone who wants to follow their convictions, even when people laugh. Anyone who wants to be a builder.
So that's the ultimate takeaway. The gifts you have, they're just the starting point. They're chapter 1. But the rest of the book, well, that's still unwritten. The pen is in your hand. What's the next chapter going to be?